Hello Internet, Hiboson here. Today I'm going to bring you this, which is the MeeGoPad T02 mini PC. Basically it's a PC on a stick. I will quickly point out this is the second time I've shot this video. I shot it a couple of days ago, but the lighting in here was horrific. I left my ceiling fan running so the sound was horrid, and I left the camera on autofocus so it was going. So when I came to edit it today, ready for tomorrow's release, I realised that it just wasn't good enough. So I'm quickly going to go through this again. Obviously I can't really unbox it again, but all I really did was took it out of this transport box from China, then opened up this lovely little box here, took out the compute stick itself, and then outside the box took the other bits of these out. Get rid of it over there. The USB cable that comes with it for the power, and the power adapter, which is a European or American something plug, 2 prongs, something I can't use at the moment without an adapter. The plastic bags the bits were originally in, and some kind of warranty guides and little instruction manuals in English/Chinese. Anyway, so that's all that was really happening with the box. Not a great deal. Basically what this is a complete Windows 8.1 PC on a small form factor like this. Basically like a rather large USB memory stick. This device here runs an Intel Z3735F processor, which is a quad core. The specs on the website say 1.33 gigahertz. It's got a 32 gig of onboard storage, 2 gig of RAM. Also, it is coming with 2 USB full-size USB ports. There is also a USB micro port on here, but that is purely for power. There is like a headphone output as well, so if you want to output this to external speakers rather than going through the TV speakers, that can be done. And a little SD slot as well for a SD card. That is basically it on here. Oh, and there is a power button just here as well. So this is, like I said, the MeeGoPad, the T02. This is the upgrade from their T01. It's basically, if you've heard of the Intel Compute Stick, from what I understand, the specs are pretty much the same as the Intel Compute Stick. So this though is slightly larger and bigger because this one doesn't have a fan in like the Intel Compute Stick. So this one here uses a bit more like passive heating with large like heat spreaders and things like that in there. I've not taken it to pieces yet to have a look, but I have seen videos, clips and things where people have taken these to pieces. Now I'm not going to go through this too heavily. I'm basically just doing a very quick video. I did a lot more long-winded video the first time round, and most of it was blabbering and you didn't really want to hear it. So this is the like I said, the unit itself. I will quickly go through the like I said, the power supply here. It is a 5 volt 2 amp power supply. Now the thing is, obviously I'll need a converter for this. Now when I did my first video, I tried to power it all up, but because I couldn't use this because I didn't have an adapter to hand, I just used one of like the standard USB charger things I had kicking around, and I had a lot of trouble. And what it turned out was, it was getting to booting and then shutting down, to boot and shut down. Oh, excuse me. It wasn't this thing's fault, it was my fault. I thought the thing I plugged it into was a 2 amp supply. It wasn't, it was a 1 amp supply. So this does need a 2 amp supply. So be aware of that, because if you don't, it just won't run right, or it'll shut down. Basically, as soon as there's too much current draw, it's going to shut down. Now on that note as well, although it does have 2 full-size USBs and what have you, if you've got something like a external hard drive, I would suggest using one that has its own power source, because if it's something that's going to draw too much current through these, it could possibly cause the unit to shut down. Either that, or do what I'm going to do in a minute here, which I don't know if you can see it. Yes, you should be able to just see it there in the edge of the frame. Is I have a USB hub. This one's a USB 3. These are, as far as I'm aware, only USB 2. I'd have to look that up, but I'm sorry I don't know that right now. It's one of those pieces of research I forgot to do because I'm a bit thick and I've run out of time. Anyway, so that's what I'm going to do. Because I'm going to be wanting to try and use this keyboard I've got here, which is my Corsair K95 RGB keyboard. Something I'll probably do a video on later on, by the way. I did do an unboxing, I filmed that, but I want to get to know how to use it a bit more before I actually do a proper video on that. Now, this one I feel deserves a lot of attention. Anyway, I'm getting off track, I'm chasing squirrels. On here, I'm going to then, like I said, try and plug them through there. When the first time I tried to do this, it wasn't working. I thought at first it was that trying to draw too much current through all the, or the hub wasn't working, but like I said, the first time I tried it, I didn't have a powerful enough supply running it, so that was my fault. One thing I will say is the cable supplied for the power is very short. That isn't very long, because if you think this thing's going to be plugged into the side of a TV, running down, usually the plugs are like down at the floor level or something. That is not really, barely reaches from the top to the bottom of my TV, let alone going round through cable things down under the desk to a power supply. So you'll probably either want an extension, USB extension on there, or get yourself another like micro USB lead, but a lot longer, to take it from the charger to the device itself. I'm going to plug this in a minute. One thing I did notice when I had it in there the other day, I don't know if you're running the same TV or similar to me, because the best slot to get this into is obviously the side slot, because then it's easier access for the power switch. Now my HDMI port that is on the side sits between the two USB ports that I have on the side. Now I actually use my USB ports on mine quite a lot because I plug media devices directly in. Like at the moment I have a memory stick plugged straight in there to run the graphic that I have on the screen here. So when you plug something like this in, it actually slightly covered the other the USB socket. So I haven't tried to see if this will fit in, and I can get them around the edge, but at the moment that is something that could be an issue. So it's something that you may want to consider, because I know the Intel compute stick is a little thinner, so whether or not in your situation that could be then the decider between going for one of these or a compute stick, because from what I understand in terms of spec and usability, they're pretty much on par with each other. That is something to take into consideration. It is an issue that I've found. Also, at the moment the power switch is on here, so when this is in behind my TV, I'm having to reach all the way around and try and fiddle around to, you know, get round and push that button on the thing to switch it on. It's like a push and hold switch, which I do find somewhat annoying that I have to, you know, I reckon what I think probably the best option for me, all in all, when the time comes to use this on a regular basis, would be I'm going to get an HDMI extension cable which I can plug in the side, run it down, and then I can have this like on the side here, maybe a little bit of blue tack or something to hold it in position. So then I've got easy access to the switch, easy access to the ports, easy access to the SD card slot. That's probably what's going to be what I'll need to do in the end. I think that's probably going to be the way to use it, because with it all tucked behind the TV, trying to get to these and what have you and the slots, it can be done, but it's got an extra fiddle factor, because normally you're in the dark, you're behind the TV, normally you've got limited space. So I got a funny feeling for a lot of people, this being either mounted somewhere like that on the desk, or maybe with an extension and mounted onto the wall with a little bit of sticky back something next to it to make it really easy to access these, might be something you want to consider if you're going to be using this. Rightio, I think I've babbled on enough, so let me just quickly plug this in and let's see if we can get this up and running and have a little look at it. Okay, there would have been a slight cut there when it come to putting passwords and stuff in. Apologies on that, but I didn't want to give away all my secrets now, do I? I'm not actually going to go through too much on here. As you're going to see now, it's come up. It is Windows 8.1, as you can see. Let's go to the desktop. The issue I have at the moment with this is you can't really see it on there, and my apologies on that. It is like the clock is there, but then the volume bits, bobs, and all of these are disappearing down off the screen. So and the recycle bins disappearing off the top corner there. So I'm going to need to play around with the settings and try and get that to pull into the proper screen size. Now I had the same issue with the Raspberry Pi. I think it's just a simple thing to do with HDMI. Hopefully it shouldn't be too much of a hassle to get that sorted. So there we go. It's a Windows 8.1 PC on very small form factor. I have several good little plans for this in the future. One of the things I want to look at, for example, is because it's not obviously a high power PC by modern day standards, but you go back 10 years ago or whatever, it would have been considered a really high spec PC. So what I want to start doing is looking at some of my old games. Now some of these might still need a graphics card or something like that, which this might not be able to cope with. But I'm looking through some of my old games, like old Privateer 2, The Darkening, and Star Trek Harbingers. It's Star Trek Voyager Elite Force, and some games from that era. You can't tell I'm a geek, can you? You can't really tell I'm a geek from those titles at all. No, not at all. So I'm going to try and see if I can find ways of getting them with like no CD options and installed onto the system via whether I have to use a USB CD drive or a like. And you know, things like that I want to try. I want to use it for things like you know, for quickly blitzing on things like YouTube or whatever. One of the things I want to do here, so I didn't have to boot up any one of my big systems, was having something where I could jump on quickly for 5 minutes to do things like catch up on comments and that on videos below. So if I quickly open up, Internet Explorer, forgive me, and let's go to YouTube and my channel there. Now I did obviously play with this last time I filmed, and it played back HD. So let's look at this last video of mine. I'm just going to mute the TV because we don't need to hear me again. Oh, an ad. Oh, let's yeah, jump past that. You know, feel free to click on them if you want, you know, get me a penny or two. Okay, and let's flick this up to, it's on 480, but let's shove that to full 1080, full screen. And there you go. I do apologise for the light reflecting on the screen. It's just the only way to get any decent light in here at the moment. As you can see, it's already dropping down a bit, the light, and I'm starting to look a bit darker already. So my apologies on that. But yeah, as you can see, it's playing back. That's full 1080p, and it's playing back smoothly, no problem. From what I understand, these little processors in these things are very good at doing things like video playback and etc. So as we can see, that's going all right. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope that gave you some insight into the item at hand, the MeeGoPad T02. I'll be putting a link below where I got it from. I got that from AliExpress from China. It took only less than a week to get here. I was actually quite surprised how quickly it got here. They pretty much sent it out next day and what have you. I can't promise that's the kind of response you'll get with them. But it was at the current time when I bought it, just over 70 odd pounds. It's just under 70 at the moment, but keep your eye on the price, it will fluctuate. Also be aware with AliExpress, when I put links below and what have you, that I've had it with the 3D printer videos. They've actually changed the specs and things on that link, so they can change what is on that link. So if you do follow that link, please double check it is what you're expecting it to be and the specs you want it to be. This is a fully activated version of Windows 8.1 that comes with this one that I'm linking to. So this is the one that's about 70 odd pounds. Now you might see ones, if you look around on there, around about the 55 odd pound area. As best as I'm aware, they have Windows on, but it's not an activated version, so you'll only get a limited period, and then you'll have to go to Microsoft and purchase a license. So it is one of those things to consider when you're looking at this, the difference between if you have licenses and things already and what have you, then the cheaper one might be the best option for you. If however you want a fully functioning version and you don't have to worry about any of that, then look for an activated version. Even if you don't get it from the link below, look, trust me, they're not giving me any money or anything. So feel free to look elsewhere, like maybe eBay or Amazon or anywhere like that, and find the supplier that you wish to use. Just a quickie, I'm just jumping in, sorry this is handheld etc, but I'm just in the middle of editing and stuff now. I forgot to mention, if you are interested in these, please pop over to Lon Seidman's channel, because he has the T01, the T02 and the Intel Compute Stick, and he does some tests comparing them and things like that to give you a good idea of their overall running capability in that. So the reason I've not covered a lot of that myself is because purely I don't see the need to do the work twice. So pop over his channel and check out his videos. Okay, I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you do, please hit like and all of those lovely fun things that you normally do. Also feel free to subscribe. You can also catch me at Hiboson. I've got it around here somewhere. What side is it? That way, this way? I'm the other way around now, I don't know. But anyway, catch me up on Twitter at Hiboson, and I will see you again next week. Bye!